Hey, Queens. Okay, send likes. Let's get this moving. I want to actually have a live today that does anything and does anything. It's currently like 2:40. Maybe that's why. But I just haven't been very free at nights, so been going out most nights. So yeah. Excuse me. Okay, hello. Thank you. Okay. Keep sending likes. I don't know if we're gonna get anyone to disagree, but let's read the news. Google News. I'm doing well. I've been sick for the past like 3 weeks. Um, but oh well. The U.S. presented a new proposal. Said no longer be demanding complete IDF withdrawal. Permanent ceasefire. Okay. Cool. Okay. Intriguing. Some new moves. I'm going to come back when you start debating. Well, that's the issue is, okay, we got 300 people on here. Okay, 340 people on here. How's everyone doing? 350 people on here. Okay, dokie. Guest requests should be on. Maybe I didn't restart them. Okay, if you disagree with me, send a guest request. Yeah. Send a guest request if you disagree with me. If there are 300 people on here and no one disagrees with me, that'd be a miracle and insane. So, maybe some ish is changing. Israel's God's land. Come up and debate me, babe. Come up and talk to me. I was just reading the news because I don't know. Yeah. Make dumb choices, live with dumb consequences. I guess, why does Israel not have to live with their dumb choices and their dumb consequences? Still waiting for Zionists to come up in election. Yeah. Same. Same for Ukraine. I don't think it's the exact same. I think there are big differences. I do know Parker. Which people? Because I feel like when you make that statement, you're only caring about one of the peoples being killed, right? And interestingly, the one that's being unalived notably less. Why would you not support the only democratic state in the Middle East? First of all, a ethnocratic theocracy is not democratic, right? When they deny, half of the people that should be citizens citizenship, that's not a democracy. But second of all, we should hold our allies to a notably higher standard than we should hold the people fighting against our allies, obviously. So I don't support something just because it's a democracy. I don't support people who violate human rights and violate, the basic decency of people. But yeah, come send a guest request, homies. Thank you to people sending gifts. Thank you to people sending likes. I just want to get a Zionist. Why can AIPAC decide who sits in Congress? Well, get rid of Citizens United, baby. I don't love the idea, the no more dual citizens in our government. I don't think that's really productive. I just see people unaliving. I don't know who just should help. Yeah, I'd love to help. The best thing we can do to help is this. Will I be voting in this election? Maybe. I might. We'll see. For a few reasons. First of all, because I think I'll be registered North or South Carolina, and it's like, who cares what my vote is in North or South Carolina is, Keep on sending likes, everyone. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm also, I'm abroad, so it's a bit annoying. But, there's no real reason for me to. I'm in South Carolina. Oh well. Calling Jews and other Zionists is a slur. What? Wait, that's just a nonsense statement. Calling Jews and other Zionists is a slur. What do you mean? Yeah, someone come up and defend this. Yep, hop on. I'll send you a guest request if I can. Oh, no, I can't. But send a guest request. It's this little infinity bar down here. Am I a Zionist? No, I'm not a Zionist. God, no. Hell no. And all foreign aid, no more NATO or UN funding. I don't think that's productive either. If you believe that, come up and send a guest request. Is this also bad audio? I'm getting a lot of feedback in my headphones. There we are. I don't watch it, but America can fix it right. I don't think America has fixed much right, in fairness. Should their families stop funding them? Are you mad about that? What do you mean? States do have rights in some ways. States in what capacity? Do you mean like U.S. states, or do you mean like sovereign states? But yeah, first and foremost, the person. NATO and Israel shouldn't exist. I quite like NATO. NATO's a weird thing. I'm not entirely anti-NATO. Because what happens when NATO ends? But anyway. NATO is dangerous. I agree. NATO is dangerous. But what will happen if... Yeah, anyway. We can talk about this. If you actually bring up a point as to why NATO itself is bad, that's an interesting thing. I just see it as a set of allies, by and large. And then America producing hegemony. Actually, NATO has done things. NATO's... well, they do actually a lot of things, but... Yes, we should not be sending... That is the problem, is we should not be sending NATO money to ethno-states. And we shouldn't be using NATO money to do horrendous things. It's what you do with NATO, by and large. But it's hard to put like a moral standing on just like a treaty organization that exists in this world. Yeah, like the same thing with the UN. The UN has done horrendous things. But the problem is not the UN. The problem is the UN doing horrendous things. NATO is not a defensive organization. Who did they attack to? Who got attacked to found Kosovo? Who got attacked to when they put NATO troops in Korea? No one really. It's a properly aggressive treaty organization. Yeah, but dismantling NATO wouldn't dismantle the war machine. They would just be independent war machines, right? It might reduce Western hegemony, right? There would be interesting points. Palestine is an ethno-state, reminder if I'm wrong. The H group does not equal Palestine. Those two are not the same things. Yeah, no. I don't have the biggest, like, properly, like, yay, I love NATO. I just don't think it's the best thing to target right now. And I also think right-wingers are targeting NATO because they don't like it for very specific reasons, right? Yeah, but someone's grandfather being it. But anyway, like, these two things are not the same. Yeah. It's not the best. I just don't think dismantling it will be the most effective way to do anything, right? Because I think ultimately it's an expansion of American power. So we start at home, right? Reasonably, we would want to see military integrations across the world, right? Reasonably, we would want to see closer military integration with other people. The issue is that it's not militarily integrating with everyone else. But I would say we start with reducing America's funding of their own military well before we stop funding places like, England's or France's funding, etc. Anyway, if there's no occupation, there would be no H group. I agree with that. You want to depend on Europe to protect you? We don't depend on Europe to protect us. Europe depends on us to protect us. By and large, anyway, if America is disbanded, Russia would take it. That's not what I'm worried about. I just don't think it's a terribly productive political stance. But anyway, if anyone disagrees with me on this, especially, come send a guest request. Guest requests are on. Are guest requests on, everyone? Is just no one guest requesting? Yeah, guest requests are on, baby. Okie dokie. Let's go up. Oh, hello.
Hmm.
Hi, what'd you send a guest request to disagree about?
Oh no, why not support it? We give billions of dollars to other countries. Jordan gets like a billion. It's a very common American practice. Why not give it to also to our ally, the only democracy in the Middle East?
So you just okay. So you disagree with that statement. Why does Israel deserve our money when they're committing a genocide against the Palestinians?
Well, that's not a genocide because you still have a lot of Palestinian growth, population growth. Palestinian growth also
Where in the
inside of a
definition of
proper Israel.
genocide does it mean their population has to decrease?
It does. It does. The genocide means
Where
that
in the
you
definition does that say that?
in the definition, yeah, it does say it. You click
Okay,
like
do
what
you know the
happened in
definition?
Germany. Yeah, you take out a ethnicity out, a person, religion for the religious or ethnicity. You clean them out. You take them out. Genocide. You completely take them
So
out.
the definition is a crime. So the a crime committed with the intent to destroy a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group in whole or in part. A set of those crimes that can be committed is unaliving, mass starvation, sterilization, mass transfer of the kids. Also, are you breathing really close into the mic, or are you moving around the mic or something? Because this is genuinely very painful for my ears. Um, there we go. Thank you. Where in that definition does it necessitate that the population has actually decreased?
Well, in that definition, actually, it actually doesn't say that necessarily.
Okay,
But
so
if
it's
you're
not
gonna,
a necessary property of a G side. Yeah, great.
yeah, but you still have people grow. You have people. You still have a population that lives in freedom in proper Israel. 20% of the population is Palestinian,
Where does it say
and
that some of the population can live in safety
well, they
or
all
can't
live
live
in
in
safety and we're
safety?
not attacking.
Where does it
There's
say
some of
that in
them.
the definition? Like, tell
Well,
me
that
what part of this definition is not being fulfilled.
well, the definition that you put, it says something about starving them out. So you're not starving the people inside of
They're not starving the people in Rafah?
and no, there's still people that live there properly. They're living in peace.
Okay, so I'll give you the full one provided by the UN, signed onto by
The UN,
Israel.
the UN definition, the UN made up definition, or the genocide from which dictionary? Is it dictionary you getting that definition
So
from?
this is from the genocide conventions that Israel is a signatory of.
Not the ICJ, right? That ruled for Israel. That's not the same one, right?
So this is the genocide conventions that Israel is a signatory of. So do you think that's fair? If Israel signed on to it, then we can accept this definition?
You're gonna post in that the definition?
I read off a summary of it. I'm happy to read off the rest, but let's establish that the source is valid first. This is a this is the genocide Article 2 of the Genocide Convention, which Israel is a signatory of. Will you accept this definition?
When you say starving ethnicity,
No. I'm
ethnicity.
asking you about the source of this because I want to make sure you're not going to slip
No, I
away
do.
from the
I do
source.
not accept that.
If Israel is a signatory of this source, do you believe that it is valid to judge Israel on the basis of that definition?
Israel signed it. You have proof of that?
Israel doesn't deny that they signed the genocide conventions. Yeah.
Did Israel really? Where's that? Where's that proof at? You could prove that.
Wait, you could
That
ask
Israel
Bibi
signed it?
today. Bibi Netanyahu would say it. In their proceedings within the ICJ, they said they signed it.
So,
Literally
the
everyone said
ICC, they have the right to defend themselves before.
I try and have like one thought after another. If Israel signed this, which they did, do you believe that it is acceptable to judge them on the basis of it?
If they signed it according to if that's a signature,
Yeah,
the only
they
thing that I
signed
know
it, bro. Anyway, I'm going to
they
read it
did.
off, and you're going to tell me which part of this they aren't doing. So, the mental element is the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. And the physical element is killing members, or causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, or deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, or
Keyword.
imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, or forcibly transferring children of the group. The ones that stick out to me, right, are deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. When they said that Palestinians need to go on a diet and they reduced the amount of calories calculating it, they literally calculated how many minimum possible calories they could transfer to Palestinians, right? They've clearly caused serious bodily harm or mental harm to members of the group, and they've clearly killed members of the group, right? So the only contention you could have is that they don't have the intent to destroy in whole or in part. I'm setting out your own argument, but I'd love for you to have like two neurons together to understand that. Do you understand
That
the argument that you have to make to deny this?
yes, you say deliver. That's the word you said. And that before October 7th, they were living there in peace.
Were they
Before
living there in
Hamas,
peace? They were some of the most
yeah.
starved peoples in the world.
Well, they had the most money given to them, and they stole that money to make tunnels. The H group, 2005,
Whose
they withdraw
responsibility is it to ensure that the Palestinian civilians are fed?
the H group. They have plenty of
Wrong.
money.
Why? According to whom? Who gave them that
Who
authority?
control it?
Under
It's the
international
government.
law, whose responsibility is it?
That on their own law. International law is the people that control it. The people
Under
that
the people that control it. And who is occupying
control
Gaza?
Gaza. Who governs Gaza? Who
Who
governs
is
Gaza?
occupying Gaza? Under international law.
Before 2005, they withdrew,
I'm
and
asking you. You're talking directly prior to October
H group
7th. Who was occupying Gaza during that time?
before 2005, it was Israel. They withdrew.
And
They
and
gave it
and
to
following 2012, who was it?
they themselves. H group. They had
Wrong. Try again.
no.
Israel's
H
been
group.
occupying Gaza at least since 2012, since the imposition of the
They withdrew.
complete, since the complete land, air, and sea blockade.
Really, and they
Yeah.
withdrew. And who took over Gaza? Why did they have the election? When was the last election they had? When?
Do you know? Since
Do you know about that?
they had an election in 2006 where Hamas
In
won a
2000, yeah.
minority of the votes, right, but then gained governmental power, and then illegally and terroristically took over government, right, against the
There you
wishes of
go.
the Palestinian people. A
Yeah, there you go.
non-democratic, non-elected organization taking control of a territory that is occupied by a sovereign state does not alleviate that sovereign state of their obligations to those people.
That age group decided to execute and then take the life of the Fatah and then
Why
start
does that
shooting
alleviate Israel of their obligations to the Palestinian people?
because they have enough money there to grow. They have enough money. The
Why
Qatar,
does
the
an
Persian.
H group taking why does a T group taking terroristic actions alleviate a sovereign state of their obligations?
That's crazy. The Gaza people, they're not the people. The H group decided to shoot rockets.
Yeah,
What do you
I'm
expect?
asking why I'm asking why
You withdraw.
I'm asking you why the Palestinian people lost their rights in relation to Israel's actions in international law because of the actions of terrorists? Are you saying
totally wrong.
terrorists have the ability to take away rights from their civilians?
The H group took the rights, took everything out. Yeah, the
But
H group. Yeah,
are you saying international law should recognize that?
international law didn't do anything to
So
help these people.
do Afghanis have rights currently under international law?
On international law, nobody has right because they don't have no power. They're like the UN. They don't have no power to impose any democracy.
Okay. So what's your bar for how Israel should act?
The way they should act is continue to have a democracy, continue like the ICJ. They have the right. They're told that they have the right to defend themselves, and they have.
Okay,
And before-
in what context do they have the right to defend themselves? You don't believe any
you see
rights exist
rockets
under international law.
the word
So
deliver-
what do you mean when they say have the right to defend themselves? Rights in relation to what?
if they're shooting, if your neighbor, whether it's semi-autonomous, whether they're autonomous, shoot rockets delivered to hit civilians, you have the right to defend yourself.
Rights
The H
in
group
relation to
might
rights.
have
Rights are only in
civilians.
relation to a legal system, brother. So what legal system do they have rights under?
The Israeli or the Palestinians?
I'm asking you what gives Israel the right to defend itself if you don't believe international law has any rights.
International law means that you could allow your people to get shot at with rockets. That tells you they have the right to get you people murdered. If the H group decides to take your life and shoot rockets delivered from your position to your civilians,
I'm asking you, Juan, what do you mean by rights? What do you mean they have rights if there is no governing body?
There is a government body called H group. That's the
If
government.
there's no
body.
governing,
They have
who's the governing body of
democracy.
Israel? Like, wait, what does it mean for Israel to have rights if there is no supreme governing body over them?
They have a supreme body. They have a Knesset. You ever heard of the Knesset in the parliament?
The
Israel has
supreme
a
governing
Knesset.
body over them.
They don't have nothing. Nobody has. There's very limited stuff like
Okay,
the
so what do
UN.
you mean by
The
rights,
warfare.
bro? I only
The
have right. I only
civil
have rights in
rights.
relation to. I only have rights in relation to people that would stop me from having them. I have rights in relation to the U.S. government when I say I have like the right to free speech, right? I only have rights as like an immigrant in the U.K. because of the U.K. government giving me those recognitions, right? So you see how rights are a relationship between the individual and the government. That's what we mean when we say rights. What do you mean when you say rights? What does it mean for them to have the right to defend themselves, right? Or is that just you saying they should be able to defend themselves? It is a good thing for them to defend themselves. You need to be
Listen,
clear on what you're saying.
you live in an area and a foreign body is trying to shoot you civilians at your country, at a sovereign country. If, let's say the Canadians or the Mexicans start shooting rockets at any borderline in Texas, the good government has a right to defend themselves, to shoot back
They
at
surely
you.
have the ability to, but the only
Yes,
way we
should
would
they?
use okay, so you mean they have the ability to and that they should.
They will
So
be
you
doing it.
just mean
That's
that
the right.
You just mean that Israel should defend itself.
Yeah, definitely, you're right. They have to defend
Okay,
themselves.
should the
Just like
Palestinians be able to defend themselves?
well, they can right now because the H group is a terrorist group, according to the United States,
And
and they hide behind
so according
civilians.
to Britain in the foundation of Israel, the organizations that later became the IDF were T groups. So when did Israel gain the right to defend itself if originally they were designated by at least one country as T groups?
Originated it, but they had the England. They gave them the partition plan, and the
England didn't
Palestinians
give them
always
the
reject.
partition plan.
They rejected it 3 or 4 times. They went to
England
war.
didn't give them the partition plan. Who gave
The
them the partition
UN,
plan?
the UN, whoever gave them the right, whoever
Why do you
you
care
want to
about the
put.
UN? Don't you deny the validity of
No,
the
no, no, no.
UN?
Not I'm saying the UN. They say, hey, you have the right to exist. They came out with a different plan.
Does the UN have
The
the
so-
ability to determine rights?
not really, but
Okay, so
that
then
was
when did Israel
they
get the
recognized.
right to defend
They had the
itself?
recognition. The first to recognize
Okay,
to
wait.
exist.
If you don't believe that the UN matters at all,
A
right, in
little bit,
relation to
a
rights, why
little
are you
bit,
citing that? Are you only
a
citing the
little
UN
bit,
when it helps
a
you?
little bit, a little bit, because right now
A
they have
little
the
bit. Wait. So
Iran.
by a little bit, you
They
mean
have
whenever it helps
corruption.
you?
The UN corrupted because they have the
When did
Iran
the UN
running the
corrupt
human
it?
rights. Because they have
When
Iran
did the
running the
UN
human rights.
corrupt?
It's a
What
weak
day?
organization, and they recognize Israel to exist. So what happened? They existed. They have the right to be there. They have the land, and the H group has decided to take the people's civil rights out easily, and they shoot rocket instead of building a country. They have decided to build a T state. That's what, and
Who
the people
spends?
have no right.
Okay, intriguing. When did the UN corrupt such that? Yeah. When do you think it becomes helpful to you to believe that the UN corrupted?
Oh, they only do little minor stuff, cleaning, maybe to have a way to speak yourself out, to have people that they
But
could meet and discuss.
If
But
you're
they
going
have
to
become
say
a
this is the most clear bad faith argument, and you've made it so poorly. You've said I care about the UN here and what the UN says here, and I'm going to base my whole entire argument on what the UN says here. But then I'm going to completely, utterly, and ubiquitously deny in basically all other cases for absolutely no reason, right, that the UN is valid here. Okay? You have to choose one. Okay?
not
Or you
necessary.
have to justify to me why one is valid or one is not. That's the other way you can do it. But you've done neither. You've just said, I don't like what they said here, so I'm going to ignore them. So, does international law exist? Did international law ever exist? Does the UN matter at all? Did the UN matter at all? And if so, where are you drawing these lines? Because right now you're making an entirely bad faith point, saying, look, I'm going to recognize the UN when it's helpful and then completely ignore them when it's not.
Because they're not really that great. They make at the beginning they recognize Israel to exist. In the Arab countries around, they decided they want to go to war 3 or 4 times. Even though when Israel decided to give some of the land back, decided no, 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 no. Even Barack Omer decided we're going to give you more land, and you know what happened? They went to war. And they decided not to accept it, and they went to war. They left 2005 Gaza. They decided to take over and shoot rockets at Israel, so they don't have no way to have any settlements. Just like in Mexico, in the United States, just like Canada, and the United States, they decided to shoot rockets. They don't have. They, instead of giving a right to those people, making a Dubai in the Gaza, they decided to fight Israel. The money they got,
Okay,
all that
so Juan,
money.
I'm gonna stop this ranting for just a second. You know the partition plan. What else did the UN recognize in passing the partition plan?
They recognize Israel the right to exist.
What What other country did they recognize
And
as a
the
right to
Arabs,
exist?
they decided to tell the Arabs, hey, you could have this piece of land. And
No,
the at first
they actually recognized the right of another Arab country to the right to exist. What was that country?
the Palestinian state.
Okay, so do you believe the Palestinians have the right to a state?
Well, they got well, yeah, they do have three states. They got Jordan, and now they got Gaza,
Do
and they will
you?
make
But they
another
recognized a
state.
Palestinian state in that area on those lines. Do you believe the Palestinians have a right to exist on
They
the
do.
partition lines?
The first time they offer it, they reject it, and Israel conquer more land. So every time they went to war, 3 or 4 times, they rejected, and they went to war.
The
Even the
current,
last one.
actually, under the Camp David Accords, they offered even a more conservative offer. They actually offered that Israel take more land than they had a right to under the
No, no, no,
partition
no, no,
plan.
no, no, no,
So
no, no.
do you condemn Israel for denying those indigenous peoples their right to exist on that
No,
land?
no, 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 no. The last time they offered the rights, it was not the best deal that the Palestinians could get. But then they decided to go to war and start shooting rockets and
But
started
didn't Israel
attacking.
also decide to go to war when they denied the Palestinians their
No, no,
offer?
no, no, no. They were attacked first. They got
Oh,
together
wait, in
many
1967, who
times.
attacked first?
And Israel probably attacked first, but
Oh, okay, intriguing.
which year was that? What year was that?
1967.
1967. No, they were attacked by Egypt, Jordan,
No, they were
Syria.
not. 1967, they were not attacked in Egypt, Jordan,
So tell
Syria.
me when they were attacked. What date? What day did they attack?
They were attacked on a series of other times, but I would say that
Oh,
Israel,
oh.
in their foundation, was an act of war.
They were always fighting at each other at the beginning, and then every
Absolutely.
time
Wait,
they
they were
offered.
always, quote unquote, Israel broke the international law first.
No, 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 no.
The partition plan only came into effect on the consent of both parties.
No,
So
no,
for
no, no.
Israel to establish independence without the consent of both parties, right, loses international recognition and validity. Okay? So
No.
Israel, in establishing an ethno-state on a territory they had no right to, right, is absolutely an act of war, at least against the citizens that have the right to live there, and then the other bodies can come in and represent their interests. Okay?
And
So if we want to start this tit for tat thing, Israel kept shooting the first shot and has kept shooting the first shot since 1948. We all know that.
no, in 19, if you want to start talking about murdering, we could go back to 1928 when the Jews were massacred in Hebron. They massacred all these people before Israel was a state. Once Israel established,
Why don't
they
we go
just,
back? Why don't we just start at the start? Why don't we start in 1890 or
well,
1908, right? When a
hey, why
mass
don't we
amount
start
of
with King
Zionist
David?
colonizers started coming into the area, buying up land and forcibly displacing
No,
Palestinians
no,
from
no,
their
no. They were
territory.
buying. They were buying land voluntarily.
And there was a
Some,
series of terrorist groups, according to the British government, that were forcibly displacing Palestinians as well.
I don't know about that evidence, but they were
I mean,
expelled. Many of the Jews.
the UK called them terrorist organizations. Are you saying England, the ones that supported the foundation of Israel, are now wrong as well?
Oh, they were shooting at each other, and they
No,
were
I mean
50%.
Israel. The UK categorized right those three organizations that began the IDF later on as terrorist organizations. Do you condemn those terrorist organizations?
I don't know if you ever. I never read of that before. I know they
Okay, then
became a
you need to
state.
read more, Juan. I'm
Fifty
going to move
percent.
on to another person who maybe has also maybe has read anything.
Really, what
But
happened
I
to
appreciate you
the Arabs
coming
that
up
were expelled?
mildly.
All the Arabs
Thank you so
expelled in
much, love.
1948.
Anyway, keep on sending likes. Thank you so much. Share, like, gift. Thank you. Hello, Rachel.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm almost 20.
We're almost 20. Hey, so am I. Okay, then we can have this conversation. Gen Z, Gen Z. What'd you send a guest request to disagree on?
Um, well, I joined like mid conversation, so I don't really understand like exactly where you guys started off.
This
So
statement up here.
oh, oh, I disagree with that. I
Okay,
mean,
just
like
to be clear, you are over 18, yeah?
yeah,
You're like 19?
yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Why do you disagree with that?
Well, in some parts, I disagree with it because on one side, I agree that America should kind of like back the fuck off and like
Also,
let us.
just sorry, this is not me being an a-hole. Just use TikTok friendly language to protect both of our accounts, yeah?
Sorry. I think that the U.S. like shoves themselves in things that don't concern them, and I think that Israel is very capable of handling the situation by themselves. But at the same time, when you have like terrorist organizations coming at them, I feel like Hamas won't end at Israel. Like they'll move on to the West. So I feel like that's kind of like a concern on the American side.
Interesting. Okay, let's start with that first claim. What country makes up 26% of your GDP? Israel's GDP. Trade with.
America. Wait.
Y-
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, America. America. And the NATO allies make up basically the rest of it. So I believe 20% or 20 to 30% of Israel's GDP is made up by trade with non-NATO allies. So if America and NATO allies implemented a trade blockade, sanctions, or any type of change in the free trade agreements that we had with Israel, Israel would crumble economically, right? We all know that. Let's wait until she's back. Hello. Hello? You good? We back?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Gorge, yeah. You just seem to have a Wi-Fi go out.
Yes.
So, you think if America implemented sanctions on Israel and pressured our allies to implement sanctions on Israel as well, Israel would still exist and be able to defend itself as it does?
Mhm.
Is that your belief?
Yeah.
How?
I think so. I'm biased, but you know.
But you can be biased and also this math is not mathing. 80% of your GDP would wipe out in a minute. Where would you, who would you trade with? You would be a pariah state because you're not going to trade with the Middle East, right? They don't recognize your
No,
existence.
you gotta think.
You
You
might
have
turn
a
to
point.
China, but China's aligned with Iran in BRICS. You might turn to India, but India equally is aligned with Iran in BRICS.
So what-
China still trades with you a little bit, but they still have sanctions against you. Who would you trade with? How would you get things?
So basically, what you're saying that if the U.S. cut off all funding to Israel, Israel would cease to exist. Basically.
I'm saying Israel is dependent on America and American
Yes.
allies to be able to function as a non-pariah state in this world. Absolutely. They are dependent on the West. They are a Western proxy state through and through.
So if you're against the U.S. funding, you're also against the state of Israel as a
Well,
whole.
I want to start from the beginning and then move to the end. Right. So at the beginning, we both need to agree that Israel is dependent on America.
Yeah.
Right. And if we start with that, then we start saying, okay, well, why is America then tolerating the horrendous, despicable acts that Israel's taking? Right. That's the start. Because I think Israel does have this false confidence that they could continue existing without America. They just couldn't. So let's start there. You are reliant on America. You require American funding to continue to exist. I believe that America should use that to stop Israel from violating human rights and generally stop the
Uh,
despicable acts that Israel's doing. Also, you have a bit of feedback. Do you have like headphones or anything that you could put on, or maybe you like move the
no,
mic or
actually.
something?
Here, I'll probably do this. I
Okay,
don't
wait,
have.
that might be better. Okay, that's perfect. I think we're good.
Okay. So, so you're saying that the rockets towards Gaza, towards Hamas, shouldn't happen.
I believe I believe a series of things. I think they should have let the Red Cross in much quicker. I think that their actions and their military actions are genocidal, right? I think
Mhm.
by and large, yeah, rockets into one of the most densely populated residential areas
What,
should not
Russia?
have happened because the only thing that it'll do is breed more terrorists. Yeah.
Well, Gaza they're raised to be terrorists, to be martyrs.
I would say so is Israel. But and what?
Not, there's a difference between the education in Israel and the education in Gaza. If you live there, you would know the
No,
difference.
I'm aware, but I've also seen the books that come out of Israel. I don't see why how a kid is raised depends on whether they deserve to live.
It, I'm not saying that the children of Gaza don't deserve to live.
Then why is throwing a rocket into their schools or into their homes? 90% of residential areas in
What
Gaza
makes
have been
you what
razed.
makes you think
Why
it's
is that acceptable?
what makes you think it's genocide?
Well, okay, so I have the definition genocide up this whole time.
And do you have
So the
numbers?
mental element of genocide is the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. And then the physical element can include some of the following five acts: unaliving members of the group, causing serious mental or bodily harm to the members of the group, deliberately inflicting upon the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, forcible transfers of children to another group. So I believe they do have the intent, in whole or in part, to destroy the national and ethnic group of Palestinians and Arabs within their territory. And then they do clearly have killed members of that group. They clearly have caused serious bodily and mental harm to members of the group. They have clearly and deliberately inflicted upon that group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction. Even prior to October 7th, right, they were counting calories for Palestinians. They weren't allowing a huge amount of foods in for Palestinians. They said Palestinians need to go on a diet, despite being one of the most starved peoples in the world, right? And they've made their intent clear, right? Netanyahu has said that there are one person within Netanyahu's cabinet has said that there are no innocents within Gaza. Netanyahu said that they wanted to go in and annex Gaza, right? They've done a huge amount of things, but even if they didn't state their intent clearly, right, you don't get 30,000 civilian deaths, right, in 2 months without an intent to destroy in whole or in part that ethnic group, right? You don't stop the Red Cross from going in if you don't want to destroy civilians in that area. You don't see the actions they're taking if they don't have this intent. So they fit the mental element, they clearly have this intent, they clearly have genocidal intent, and they clearly fit the physical element. That's genocide.
Wait, so can you repeat when Israel has specifically said that their intent was to wipe out the Gazan population?
So they don't have to have. We can impute their intent, right? So if I stab you, you can assume that I intended to hurt you. Do you see how that works?
Yes. Wait,
Okay.
can you add my friend in here?
I tend to do one-on-ones, but sure. Who is it?
Let me ask her. Her name's
As long as I'm gonna talk just as much as both y'all combined is the general rule.
Okay. I'm asking her, but the looking something up. Hamas has clearly stated.
I don't doubt that Hamas is genocidal. That doesn't prevent Israel from being genocidal as well.
But we're not.
Exactly, but their intent and their actions are totally irrelevant to the question, aren't they?
I can't follow up with the chat.
Yeah, I think Hamas is a terrorist group because they're genocidal and because they've stated horrendous things. Do you think the IDF is a terrorist group because of them stating horrendous things and being genocidal? They also are just much more successful terrorist group because they've killed a lot more of that group. The forced mass displacement of people, right, is clearly ethnic cleansing, and then ethnic cleansing that causes the death of people is genocide. So,
but how is there an ethnic cleansing when there are more Palestinians today than there were like 10 years ago?
So a few things. First of all, it's indisputable they're committing ethnic cleansing. This isn't even an argument, right? When Israel calls upon Egypt to accept a huge thrust of the Palestinian population, that is ethnic cleansing. Like that's just what they're doing. Their clear intent is to move Palestinians from Gaza into Egypt or into Jordan, right? That is the point. They've said that verbatim. If that was true, if they committed war and then intended for a huge amount of this civilian population to enter the area, right, out of their country, that is ethnic cleansing. Mm-hmm. So they're clearly engaging in ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing is just the mass displacement of a people's from the area of their homeland or their indigenous area or the country they live in to another country. That's ethnic cleansing. Your question of, well, if it's ethnic cleansing, why has the population increased? Not relevant to the definition of ethnic cleansing. Do you know the definition of ethnic cleansing?
Oh, let's look it up.
The mass expulsion or killing of members of one ethnic group or religious group in an area by those of another. So this would be a mass expulsion.
Okay, so then let's take the ethnic cleansing of Jews in the Arab world. You look at Egypt, you look at Lebanon, any Muslim country, there are barely any Jews whatsoever.
Yeah, that's ethnic cleansing. Jews being ethnically cleansed doesn't prevent them from ethnically cleansing others. This totally irrelevant, right? So, the points you're bringing up though do not track onto the argument, they're whataboutisms. The two things have nothing to do with each other. I want to talk to you person to person. Like, why do you think that those two things have to do with each other? Or did you just hear someone say that they had to do with each other and believed it?
No, I've seen it. I've lived
No, but
in
why do they have to do with each other?
Why they have to do
Like, explain to me why the Jews
because
having been
we're
ethnically
not
cleansed has anything to do with the Palestinians being ethnically cleansed.
because look at Israel. Israel has 2 million Arabs that we are clearly not forcing out of the country. They have every right to live there. That is not an ethnic cleansing. If it was an ethnic
But that's not the
cleansing, there
question.
would be no Arabs in
Not
Israel.
ethnically cleansing these Arabs doesn't prevent them from ethnically cleansing these Arabs.
What's the difference between the two?
Wait, but
The
they don't need
Gazans and the
to.
Arabs
They
in
don't need
Israel.
to ubiquitously and at all times be doing everything always to every single person of this ethnic group to be ethnically cleansing. Is your argument that if they were ethnically cleansing, they would be ethnically cleansing everyone always?
Well, yeah.
Is that what you're saying? I'm not saying this to attack you. I'm just like, these are points that genuinely confuse me because the two things genuinely have nothing to do with each other. The fact that they're ethnically cleansing one people's at this current time, right, doesn't prevent them from not doing it to these other people. And we could talk about the horrendous actions against Arabs in Israel proper, right? We can, but that's not the question. The question is whether they're ethnically cleansing people in Gaza right now. So do you have a response to them ethnically cleansing people in Gaza right now?
But it's not an ethnic cleansing.
By what definition? I gave you the definition. What part of that definition is not true?
The only goal of the IDF right now is to retrieve the hostages and to eliminate Hamas. Wait, my friend wants to join.
Okay, what's the username?
Dana with like a heart.
Okay, I'm just gonna state the rules right now because I want to be very, very clear. If we're gonna have two Zionists, I'm gonna talk as much of both of y'all combined. Is that what you'd like?
No, that's fine.
Is that fine?
Yeah.
Cool. Hello, Dana.
Hi, actually.
Hi,
What?
Angeli.
Oh, hello.
So yeah, you talked about genocide, but it's not a genocide
Oh,
because
I
the
just wanted to
people
say
that
hi. Hi.
I said hi. I said hi 3 times.
Okay, cool. I didn't hear you. So we're currently on the point of ethnic cleansing. There are two different ideas, but so you heard me read off the definition of genocide. What part did you
Wait,
not think applied?
let's talk like because I'm from Israel, so I can tell you Rachel
Apologies, yeah.
is a Jew and she lived for a period of time in Israel, but she's not really living here, but she knows stuff,
I so
right?
genuinely don't care. It
So
genuinely doesn't matter.
okay, but I can tell you that if what happened at the 7th of October didn't happen, then there wouldn't be a war. Everything
I
started
disagree.
because, what do you mean? We
I mean,
don't
there was a
want
war on
war.
October
We
6th.
don't want, that we lose
Okay, Dana,
kids
one second.
every
You asked me.
day,
Sorry,
every day.
if this is how a 2v1's gonna work, we're not gonna have it. Okay? You asked me a question. Do you think it's fair that I want to respond to a question?
Wait, I just came up, so I want to react to some stuff that you said
No,
because you
no.
can't
You asked me a
admit a
question.
term
I'm
just
gonna
because.
answer a question posed to me.
Okay, so I want to say something.
You
Can
can
I?
want in one hand and shit in the other. And one tends to fill up fight quicker. You asked me a question, and so if you ask me a question, what do
I
you think
asked you
that
a
it's what do you
question.
if you ask me a question, what do you think I would want to do or would be fair for me to do after that?
What do you mean? What did I ask you?
You said why?
רייצ'ל, אני לא עוקבת, הוא שאל אותי משהו?
Do you not remember asking me why?
I asked you why what?
Yeah, why?
You asked, first of all, you asked me why it wasn't a genocide, but second of all, you asked me why I believed that there
No,
would be.
I,
You
I
asked me
wanted to
why. Sorry,
say,
one
I
second. No, no,
wanted
no.
to
You asked me why there
explain,
wasn't. Why there
I
wouldn't have
wanted
been
to
a war.
explain
Why there
why
wasn't
it's
a
not a
war on October
genocide
6th.
and why in Hague they also said it wasn't a genocide and there was a trial about it. And they said it wasn't a genocide. That's why the war didn't stop. A genocide is when you do what Hitler did, and it's trying to eliminate a group of people. We don't try to eliminate the Palestinians. We actually have 2.5 million Palestinians inside of Israel that hold an Israeli ID, and they are doctors. They're getting all the benefits. And I live here. My own doctor, personal doctor, is a Muslim Israeli doctor. And we don't want to erase them if they didn't come
Great,
at the
Dana.
7th of October. Like, okay,
Oh,
let's
wait,
say,
okay. Can I stop you there?
okay, go ahead.
Cool. You said a lot of things there that were really interesting.
And I'm from
But
Israel,
I
so I
don't
know.
care. I so genuinely don't care.
Why?
It just
It's
so
more
truly doesn't
authentic
matter.
when I
Because first
say
of all,
it
you came
because
up
I
on here.
live it. I'm not just
First of all,
guessing.
Dana. Okay, we're not gonna do this. How old are you, Dana?
30.
You're 30. So you know how to have a conversation between two people. Yeah?
What do you mean? I just came up. I heard lots of
Is
things
that
that
what
you
this looks
said.
like?
You want me to shut up? Okay, I'll shut
Yes, I
up.
do want you to
Okay,
shut
go.
up. Yes,
Okay,
correct. Correct.
Okay.
I do. Okay. So made a few points here. First of all, I read off the definition of genocide. You don't need to make one up for me. I read off the one that Israel agreed to. Okay? Did you hear me when I read that off?
I just came into this live now.
Okay, so would you like me to read off the definition again?
No.
So, okay, so you don't want me to read off the definition that Israel itself agreed to.
No.
Okay, so then
Because
I'm just going to tell you
I
that
don't
you do
think,
not know what you're talking about, and
if
you are
it
not
was,
intent on knowing what you're
well,
talking about.
if it was a genocide, Hague would say, okay, listen, we are stopping the war.
Okay,
And
so
you know
that was the
that-
other thing I forgot you said because you went on a long monologue. I'm going to stop you there again. It's very clear that you don't know what the Hague said. Because what the preliminary trial was to find out, the only fact that they were going to find out was if there was plausible evidence for there being a genocide at the time. That was what South Africa sued, right? And then there would be following litigation directly following. It was a preliminary hearing, right? The full post-discovery hearing will be to indict them properly for genocide. The first one were for preliminary steps, right, to reduce the harms of the genocide, right? And what the ICJ in the Hague concluded was that there was plausible evidence that there was a genocide going on. The only thing that they didn't do was call for an immediate end to all military actions of Israel within Gaza. But the only fact they could have concluded, okay, from this was that there was plausible evidence for a genocide. Okay? They couldn't have concluded that there was a genocide going on. That's just not what the hearing was for. So not only have you completely miscited to me what genocide is, but you have completely lied about what the Hague concluded. They did not conclude there was no genocide going on. They were posed the question no, you can't. No, you can't. No, you cannot. What you said
Okay, so I
was
don't understand
you're
why
correct,
here
Dana.
if
You are
you're
correct.
going on
I'm going
with
on. Correct.
I'm trying to tell you that it's not a
No, this isn't
genocide
gonna how this
because
gonna
if
work.
it
No,
was
Dana.
Dana,
See, Dana.
plausible, then
Dana, that's just not productive.
Yo.
So, Dana talked for longer than me, right? We're not going to engage in this. You can't just start yapping whenever you'd like, Dana, right? I was about done, right? But then you have come up onto my live, which was a favor to my dear friend Rachel, and you have disrespected me. So if we want to continue being disrespectful, you can continue being disrespectful to a wall, not on my live. If you would like to act like a 30-year-old and be able to speak as, a conversation, then I'm happy to talk to you. I think that's pretty fair. I think that's pretty clear. And yeah, I've been pretty clear about it as well.
Dana, זה לייב שלו, אז just follow the rules.
yeah,
Really basic.
but I mean, you have to listen to opinions of others. Like
I
get
did.
what you-
I did.
Well, listen.
No, you're not really.
I did.
Also,
So let me
we
finish
know
my
you
point,
like
and then
to
I'm happy to listen to what you have to say.
we not talk over each other though?
Yes, thank you.
Because that's like a recipe for fuming, you know? Like you're gonna get angry.
I agree. So I was about done with my point. Can you listen to my opinion, Dana, right, and not talk over me?
I listened to it.
I wasn't done. I clearly wasn't done. You knew that because you asked me, right, before I was done if you could interrupt me. What did I say? No.
Okay, are you done now?
No.
I can't, to be honest. It's too funny, but
Would you like to
okay.
cry? Like, genuinely, like, I'm not done with what I want to say. I spoke for shorter than you did, right? And you have since lost your mind. Can you be quiet for a long enough time for someone to speak as long as you did?
Just let him finish his point.
As
and
long
then-
as you did. I just came up like 2 minutes ago, but okay.
Wonderful. So I was almost done with my point. It's literally like a sentence away. Literally, I was just a point. You miscited to me what they did. The question they posed to the ICJ was, is there plausible evidence for Israel committing genocide against the Palestinian people in Gaza? And the ICJ said yes. Right. The only win that Israel got was the ICJ set out a list of things they had to do on the finding on finding this, and one of those things was not ending military intervention. So you've just lied. So I guess the question I'd like to pose to you, Dana, is did you intentionally lie, or do you just not know what you're talking about?
Listen, everybody in the world can say whatever. I know my people. I live here. I was born in Israel, actually, and I've lived here for 30 years. I know exactly what's happening. I know that I have lots of Muslim Arab friends that I actually love, that I actually live with, so I don't like to separate between us. And when we are talking about Gaza, we are talking about a piece of land that
I'd love an answer on the ICJ.
I'm answering whatever I want to answer because
No,
like,
we need
don't
to be able to have a
really- I don't really
conversation.
care about this trial, to be honest.
Then why'd you
What
cite
I
it?
know- What I know.
Why did
is
you
that
reference
they
the trial?
allowed us to keep the war because they know we are on the right side, because they kidnapped
That's not what they
so
said.
many people and kids that are just keep holding them. Like they kidnapped a 9 months old baby, like give him back.
Dana,
Like he
that's
did
not what they
nothing to
said.
you. It's not even soldiers. That's what I'm telling you. Like I want my kidnapped people, my kidnapped Israeli people back. That's what I want. I want my 136 people that are still in Gaza.
Dana, that's totally.
in
This is not
tunnels
the
back.
conversation we're
Can
having.
you let her finish though?
No,
And
but
then
she's
you
not
can move on.
engaging in a conversation. I responded directly to the
I don't
words
wanna-
that
I
Dana
don't wanna
said. I
talk-
would
I
expect
don't
the
wanna-
same
I
respect.
don't want to talk like about stuff that are like this. Okay, this is the law, this and that. I live here.
You don't
and I
care
can
about
tell you
international law,
exactly-
Dana?
What?
I want to talk about what's really happening, and I'm telling you the story from somebody that
I don't want to
lives in
hear the story
Israel.
from you. I want to have a conversation with you, Dana.
Okay, so we are having a
But you
conversation. I'm telling
monologuing
you
about
what's
things I didn't
happening and
ask
why-
about or
No,
questions we
why
didn't
it
pose
isn't a
is not
genocide.
a conversation.
I'm telling you why it isn't a genocide. We don't hate Arabs. Look at Arabs countries.
You don't have
at
to
all
hate
the
them to
22.
genocide them.
There are no there
no?
isn't even one Jew.
Nope.
We have 2.5 million Arabs in Israel, Muslims actually. And
Irrelevant
we
to the
live with
question.
them. They don't have even one Jew, not in Lebanon, not in Syria, not anywhere. We are not allowed in there, you understand? Because
Entirely
they
irrelevant
don't
to the
like
question.
Jews. Okay, but I want to say some stuff.
No, but if it's not relevant to the point you're making, don't say it. I don't want to just hear you say things. You're not welcome on my live, right? I don't give you a platform to just speak whatever you want. I give you a platform so that we can have a productive discussion, right? And that means you get to make your arguments, but they have to be arguments. They can't just be repetitions of talking points. So tell me
Where
why
do
it's
you
not a
live,
genocide.
Will?
I gave you the definition of genocide, or I offered to. Tell me what part of the genocide it's not, or what part of the definition it is not.
Where are you from, Will?
Irrelevant, Dana. I'd like to have a conversation with you. My
No, it's
my
very
national
relevant
origin is totally
because
irrelevant.
You can read whatever, but when you live it, or if you were someone from Gaza, that actually they are telling the whole world on TV that they want Hamas to be gone, and they are begging to Israeli soldiers to stay in Gaza and save them and give them food and everything. Right? War isn't a nice thing. People
But
will
Dana,
die. and
part
also
10 of
we
this is
lose lots of
entirely irrelevant to the
civilians.
point. You said it's not genocide. Prove it.
because genocide, the intent of genocide is to eliminate a group of people because of their ethnicity. Like we want,
In whole or
for
in part, which they are doing.
For example, no, but it's not the case. It's not because they are Palestinians. It's not because their roots are Arabs. It's not like that. And we told Hamas.
That's fascinating. So why are they not letting the Nakba refugees in?
Because you don't know who is a terrorist and who is not.
Okay, then why did they let Jewish refugees in?
Where? Huh?
I mean, the right of return, the law of return, gives Jewish people, a huge swath of Jewish people, immediate citizenry and the right to reside in Israel. They can do a background and security check on those people. Why can they not do a background and security check on the Nakba refugees who have direct lineage to the area?
What are we talking about? What is that?
Nakba refugees. Rachel, you made an interesting point. You said it was a security threat. Okay, they can let Jewish people in, primarily from American and Western Europe, right? And a huge swath of huge amount of other people, right? They can let Jews in under the law of return. Why is that not a security threat? But Nakba refugees who can prove their direct lineage, or they themselves were immediately kicked out following violence in the area. But they can't let those people in. Why? What's the difference?
Personally, well, not personally.
I want to know, because right now it looks like ethnic cleansing. We're letting one ethnicity in to a Jewish state, and we're not letting another ethnicity in to this Jewish state. Oh, guess which one is which? The Jews let in, the by and large Arabs or the Christians or the Jewish Palestinians also not let in. What's the difference, other than one being a different race or one being a different ethnicity?
Are you talking about the refugees from like what's happening in Gaza?
No, I'm talking about the Nakba refugees. Why are they not letting the Nakba refugees in?
נכבה זה הטרוריסטים האלה שכמו חמאס, כן?
Why are they terrorists and not the Jews being accepted in?
Because let's look at the world situation. Who committed 9/11?
So you're saying it is because they're Arabs and you view Arabs as terrorists?
The Nukhba are terrorists.
Is that what you're saying? Wait, are you saying yes, Arabs are just more dangerous?
What do you mean? There are
No, I want Rachel to answer this. Rachel, is that what you're saying? You're saying in this world situation, the Arabs are just more dangerous, or the Muslims are just more dangerous, so we have the right to deny Muslims and Arabs into our country.
Look at America. They do so much, like they do security.
Rachel, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the Arabs, the odds are that they're like terrorists are higher.
That's statistically not. So if we reference America, white Christian nationalists are the most dangerous group of people.
International. I'm talking about international. Look at like the airports.
I mean, America is the largest committer of war crimes in the world. I don't think we're that Muslim or that Arab.
Oh, you're very Christian.
Yeah. So are you saying? So not only have you just justified racism, you just said, yeah, them being Arab, Arab people are more dangerous. Arab people are more terroristic. That is a disgusting xenophobic thing to say.
Listen, Will.
Right? No. I won't, Dana. Not only have you admitted to being racist, but you've given a justification that is genuine brain rot, right? The idea that Arabs are genuinely more dangerous, genuinely commit more terrorist acts, right? Do these things. Absolutely disgusting. So you're saying Israel is justified in not accepting one ethnicity over another. They're justified in being a criminal, racist state because you believe you're scared of Arabs. You're scared of Muslims.
I'm not scared of Muslims, no.
So it's Arab.
Me, personally...
Are you saying Arabs are more dangerous?
When you look at Israel, Israel is such a... how do I say it? What's the word? Controversial?
Can I say something? Am I allowed?
No, Dana, Rachel's speaking right now.
Okay.
What's the word? Controversial?
Controversial?
Yes, thank you. Like land. Oh my god, I have it in my head. Can you let Dana talk for a second, and I'm gonna
Sure, Dana.
think about it.
Okay. So I'll tell you what. Let's put the war aside. We have every week, almost every week, a terror attack where
So do the
Palestinians
Palestinians.
are coming into Israel, and just like the other day, they shot a 20-year-old guy that did nothing. He wasn't even a soldier. And it's happening all the time. So we have to have some sort of, surveillance of like who is coming into Israel. Like not everybody can enter Israel because Hamas is brainwashing all the Palestinians to attack because this is the way to get to Israel. This is the way to conquer Israel, to
Okay.
kill as many Jews as they can, and they're
Okay, Dana. So you're saying
brainwashing the
that Arabs,
people.
because they're being brainwashed by Hamas, are more dangerous than the Jewish people that they let in by hundreds of thousands.
Not
Jews.
because they're brainwashed and it's just an opinion in their head, because they're acting upon it. They're taking guns and they're coming into Israeli territory, and they're just starting to shoot civilians.
So
Actually,
your
it was
argument
like,
is we can't do a proper background check on Arabs, but we can do a proper background check on random Jewish people from Malaysia or Australia or New Zealand or any of those places.
this
I'm asking you why Israel is able to make sure that the Jews coming in are safe, but they're not able to make sure the Arabs that are coming in are safe. That doesn't make sense to me. The
what do
same
you mean
process
Arabs
should
that
be
are
able to tell,
coming in
hey, you're a
aren't
Jew from
safe?
blank and blank, right? There are these risks, right? You may need these vaccines, whatever, right? And you're an Arab from blank and blank. You have the right to be here. The only distinction that you're drawing is the Nakba refugees, who internationally have the right to live there, are being denied because you view their ethnicity as more dangerous. Whereas the Jews, right, who come from a huge amount of different walks of life, right, huge amount of different backgrounds, huge amount of different countries, oftentimes from the exact same countries, right, that the Nakba refugees are coming from, right? Like a huge amount of the Jews came from Jordan, came from Egypt, came from Northern Africa, right, came from Saharan Africa, right? There was expulsions, right? We all know this. This is part of the Israeli, narrative that y'all should agree with. They came from the exact same places. And you're saying, you're Jewish, we can accept you, you're not a threat. You're Arab, your grandparents got kicked out of here, right? But you have no right to be here because you are Arab and I see you as dangerous. Do you not see how that is a systemically racist view?
Listen, first of all, Israel is a very, very tiny country. We have already 2.5 million Arabs, Muslims. So we are not afraid of Arabs. We actually live with them. But people that are Arabs, Muslims, they don't have the Israeli ID. What can I say? They are more prone to violence and wanting the Jews dead. We are already in trauma. We are always looking behind our backs because all of the terror attacks. It's very hard to explain to you what we are going through
You realize
because over
Jews in
over
Israel are more prone to wanting Arabs dead as well, right?
How many?
no, only like we can't, you know what? Even if we
Have you
wanted to
have you
kill,
have you ever seen both of y'all? Like, have you spoken to anyone similar to any of you? The
what?
Zionists in Israel are very, very prone to completely and utterly dehumanizing Arabs. They've called them dogs. They've called them children of the night. They've said there are no innocents in Gaza. They said they deserve to die, right?
You
So
live in
the
Israel?
question is you're
Okay,
saying, okay, Arabs are more likely to kill Jews in Israel, but it is equivalently true that when you accept Jews and brainwash them into being Zionists and brainwash them into supporting Israel, they are more likely to kill Arabs. So my question is why are
no,
you only protecting Jewish people? You're not protecting the Arab civilians in your country.
First of all, not only that we protect our Arab civilians, you know that lots of the Arab civilians helped Jewish people during the 7th of October. And also, we released dangerous people from jail because the Palestinians, kidnapped Muslim Arabs, Jews, and we wanted them back. So we paid actually for our Arabs, Muslim civilians to get freed from Hamas. And by the way, they killed lots
What
of
are you
Muslim
talking? I'm
people
talking
in
about
Israel.
immigration, bro, Dana.
no,
What?
okay.
Are you capable of like engaging in a line of arguments?
You're talking about the refugees, but the refugees are there. I mean, they don't. You mean you want to allow them to come into
Dana,
Israel?
I
What
would
are
appreciate if you like actually want to understand the things I was saying rather than just wanting to veer every conceivable conversation into making Israel a victim, right? It's
מה
genuinely
הוא
to the
רוצה?
point of this is
להכניס
not a
את
conversation. You are just reiterating
הרפוגיז
talking points that are
לישראל?
totally irrelevant. Dana, tell me, why do you view Arabs as more dangerous than Jews? And why do you believe that gives Israel the right to deny Arab people their right to live in their homeland, right?
It's not their homeland though.
You don't think it's
Yeah, it's not their
you don't think
homeland.
Palestinian people are indigenous?
They come from Saudi, they come from Egypt, they come from
Exactly.
Jordan, they come
That's
from
interesting.
Lebanon,
So why does the modern day
Syria.
Palestinian have on average more Levantine and Canaanite DNA than the average Jewish person in the area?
מה? מה הוא אומר?
You didn't know that?
שיש להם כאילו ב-DNA שלהם הם יותר כשייכים לארץ מאיתנו, משהו כזה. כאילו בזה שלהם, באתניסיטי או משהו כזה. Listen, how can you prove, actually, like prove that somebody, if I give you an Arab, how can you prove that he was, like he is a Palestinian from years and years and years ago, and he was like, you know, born in Israel? Because you know that Palestinians were also Jewish because the Greeks changed the term Judea to like Palestinians, and they took the term from them, but it's not really, there wasn't Palestinians
Well,
before
how
that.
can we prove it the same way we would prove it with Jews? So first of all, Israel doesn't ask for any proof that someone is
We are
related to the
mentioned
land of
even in
Israel
Egypt.
as a
They
Jew.
do.
Actually,
They
so
do.
just
They
sorry,
do.
just to be very clear,
They
if you
do.
are Jewish, Israel
They
does
do.
not ask for any proof of
They
your
do.
lineage
I
to be
literally
Jewish
had
because they
to.
accept converts.
No, no.
Oh, do they not? Do they not accept converts?
I had to prove to them that I was Jewish.
How many generations did you have to go back?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm adopted, but my parents are.
Okay, how many generations did you have to go back to prove that they had a connection to the land of Israel?
Let me count.
I can tell you
Like
that
my great
for
You only have to go back
thousands-
2 legally, and if you're a convert, you have to go back 0 because they accept converts. So that's 0. That's a 0 connection to the land. You understand that,
Yes,
right? And then if
but
you
you
are
know,
Jewish,
Will-
if even
Will, I
one
have
of
a
your parents are Jewish, if even one of your parents are Jewish, you don't have to prove that they actually had any connection to the land of Israel. You just have to
I
prove
have
that
a
they're a
question,
practicing Jew.
Will. I have a question, Will. How it is different from, like, let's say from Lebanon? No Jew is allowed in Lebanon, and for example,
Yeah, I condemn that. Also, that's not true.
Lots of Jewish people were born in Lebanon, and they were, you know, they took them out, and they came to Israel
That's
because
categorically not. Wait, sorry. Jews are allowed in Lebanon, right? Not since it's been a failed state and some Islamists have taken over a portion of it, right? They're not allowed in southern Lebanon where Hezbollah is in control. Of course, I condemn Hezbollah. Are you shitting me? But the constitutional Republic of Lebanon, right? The multi-ethnic democracy that was built in Lebanon primarily for a Christian majority that has since fallen, perfectly well accepted Jewish people. I don't doubt that bad things happen to Jewish people in the area, but that's just not true that Lebanon was an anti-Jewish ethno-state. It's just not true.
So actually,
But I also do condemn anti-Jewish ethno-states.
Actually, I have a friend from Lebanon, and we discussed it, and I said, like, can I come to Lebanon if I wanted? And he said, well, I don't know, they might kidnap you because you're
Yeah, bro,
from
Lebanon's
Israel.
a failed state. Duh. That's like saying, can
But
they go to
yeah, but
Somalia?
like-
No one should
but
go to
like,
Somalia.
Even let's talk about like Syria or Yemen,
What about
like
Egypt?
Jewish
Syria,
people.
also a failed. Wait, Syria, also
Can I
a failed
talk about
state. Yemen, also a failed state. You're naming a bunch of war-torn
Can I-
nations.
Can I say something?
What are you doing?
Yes, but there are Arab nations, and
Can
we are
I
not
say
allowed in there, and
something?
people that were born in
No
there,
shit,
Jewish
because they're
people-
run by like 4 different
Can I
terrorist
say
organizations.
something?
No, but Will, I have a
Sorry, no,
question.
Rachel, just give me 1 second. Dana's genuinely saying the dumbest things I've ever heard. You're naming
Yes,
a
but
bunch of
Hamas
failed
is
states and
also
asking me,
controlling
you're asking me
Gaza.
if I don't
Hamas
like
was
them.
also
Yeah, no shit, I don't like
controlling
failed
Gaza.
states.
Nina, any of that's not it.
Okay, תגיד לי.
Okay, so I lived in Egypt for 2 years as a Jew, Israeli. And not once have I met another Jew. Not once.
I don't care, Rachel. I know the demographics of Egypt. Like your anecdotes are totally irrelevant. I'm aware that there are not many Jews in Egypt. Your point?
כן.
זהו.
Who cares?
No, sorry. I just want, because you guys are talking about like how there are no like Israelis, Jews in Lebanon, so I just wanted to point out that also like in Egypt, is that a failed country, state?
No, I'd say Egypt is much closer to an ethno-state, problematic, horrendous state than it is a failed state. I also do condemn it. So I'm just saying that the ones Dana listed were like laughably bad examples, right? Dana,
Yes,
like
but
okay,
Hamas also
okay, Dana,
controls
Dana. I'm just gonna
Gaza.
say propaganda 101, right? Know your Israeli propaganda 101. Point to actual ethno states where Jews are actually consistently and systematically oppressed by the ruling body. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, right? Iran, we could have a discussion about, but Iran is
Wait,
comparatively
Will,
better to
sorry that
Qatar.
I interrupt you, but I have to
Oman,
go. I
the
have to go. I
UAE.
have to go. All I want to say is that I love my Jewish people, but I also love Arabs that live among us, and I don't hate
So do I,
anyone
baby.
because they are a Muslim. I'm trying to explain you the sides and everything, but I'm in no way like aiding Arabs or anything. I don't want kids to die on any side. Like, I really want peace. If you ask me, I would love peace. And yeah, that's it. But I really,
Okay, bye,
really have to
Dana.
go. Bye.
Wait. No, she is a pro. My bad.
But anyway, I'm gonna have to do this because I am ultimately on TikTok. I do have a YouTube if you enjoy these debates. If you want to see more discussions between me and Zionists, I have plenty of that. I did just post on Spotify as well if you want
Are
to
you
listen to them.
recording this?
Yeah, it's all recorded, baby.
Oh my
This
god.
is the internet. This is the internet. Um, But yeah, and thank you to people sending gifts that boost the live. Thank you to people that follow me already, and thank you to people that follow me now. If you want to discuss with me while I'm on lives, I have Discord. The Discord is linked in the bio. Everything's linked in the bio. Please go do that. And I also do have aid to Palestinian children linked in the bio. If you can donate, please donate to there. That would be absolutely gorgeous. If you want to directly support me, I have a few other things. Join my Patreon, etc. Wonderful. Yeah, the internet's forever, baby. So when you
That's
say
that
racist ass
shit.
shit like you did, hopefully it doesn't come back to you. But like, good luck, babe. I don't feel bad. I'm your same age. And I somehow got away with not being really fucking racist online. So your argument, just to go back to that for a second, you said, well, if we look at terrorist attacks that happen overall. Do you believe that I, as a white person, should be denied my rights because some other whack ass white people commit terrorist acts like storming, the Capitol building?
To Israel?
No, Capitol building of the U.S. Do you believe that the U.S. should put limitations on white people because
No, I
some
don't
white
think they
people or
should
a huge amount
increase
of
their
white people
security.
storm the Capitol building?
I just think they should increase their security, which is what Israel has
Increase
been
the
doing.
security. Is that what Israel's doing? Are they doing increased background checks on Nakba refugees, or are they unilaterally denying those Nakba refugees their
Listen,
rights to
I
live in
didn't
there?
even know what Nakba refugees were before you even said it. I was
Do you
talking
know what it
about
is now?
I have no, I was talking about something completely different and you brought them up. I'm like, well, who the hell are these? Who
Do
the
you
hell
know
are
who
you
they are,
talking about?
though? You don't know who they are?
No. I was
You
talking
don't know
about
about the
Gaza civilians.
750,000 Palestinians that have the right to live in the land of Israel and have been denied that right, despite under international law Israel being obliged to accept them?
No, I did not.
Really? And you support Israel?
Yeah.
You realize this is one of the largest geopolitical issues that Israel's had. Like, it's one of the main reasons peace between the Palestinians and Israel has failed consistently, is because Israel does not accept these Nakba refugees into the area.
Look, I had no idea who they were. Where do they come? Like, where do they come from?
They're
Like
the people
Gaza?
that were kicked out of Israel during the wars.
Yeah. Aren't they live in the West Bank? They live in Gaza?
No, huge portions of them were expelled to Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan.
I didn't know. My bad.
That's why Jordan has one of the largest Palestinian populations in the world. Do you believe that those people should be let back into Israel? Because they were forcibly displaced, and under the Geneva Conventions, people that were forcibly displaced from their home have the right to live in their, have the right to return following conflict?
Listen, oh my God, I'm so tired. Um, they should. I mean, like, anyone has a right to live in Israel, as long as they're
Anyone?
not committing these. Yeah, anyone.
Do I have a right to live in Israel?
Yes, if you really, really wanted to.
What would I do to get a right to live in Israel?
What do you mean?
How? How would I execute that right? How would I use that right? How would I end up living in Israel?
Typically, there's this thing called aliyah. Do you know what that means?
No, I don't translate.
Aliyah is not a translation, it's just a term. It's basically the process of becoming a citizen, but anybody can move there without making aliyah.
Cannot. I
You,
don't think
as
I
a white,
can.
are you
Just to
Christian?
live there, just to vibe there. I mean, I could be entitled to a green card via my parents due to Jewish heritage, but that's completely different. I'm asking you, okay, Israel explicitly denies these people their right to live in Israel. In Israel,
The Nachba refugees.
yes.
And we're talking about, you asked if a white Christian, you as a white, are you Christian?
Yeah,
You said you were
sure.
Christian.
I'm not Christian, but
Oh,
as a white
okay.
American, for example,
As a white American, you can live there. I
I can
don't,
live there permanently.
Arabs can move there. I have friends who have moved to Israel as Arabs
Do we
who,
have an understanding of how immigration works? Like, do you believe that me as an American could just move to the UK?
no,
No, no, yeah.
no.
Okay, okay. But you think it's somehow different for Israel?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think I could just move to Israel for no reason?
No, you have to have a reason. They're gonna ask you why you want to move there.
Because I want to live there, because I like it. Is that good enough?
No,
Okay, but like if I was born there, or if I was Jewish, I wouldn't have to give a reason, right? I just say, this is where I want to live. This is my home country, right?
that's the process of aliyah. Because I'm Jewish, I have to go through this god awful long process
Can I
to
do that if I'm
prove.
not Jewish?
Yeah, I have a lot of non-Jewish friends who made aliyah there.
What does the process involve? What are you describing?
Aliyah?
Yeah. What does the process involve? Like, what is the
Let me
point of the
read it.
process?
I'm gonna read the definition because I don't have it on the top of my head.
I, I, I'm just incredibly confused as to why the Arabs would not be doing this. It's just not like I know it's not true. Israel has strong immigration protections, right? They don't let anyone in. They barely let anyone in that isn't Jewish, right? They actually actively dispel people from their area. If you are Palestinian and live in the West Bank and you have a child outside of the area, oftentimes you cannot get that child a green card or even a citizenship within the area, right? We're just making shit up again. Y'all ever seen Book of Mormon? You ever heard the song "Making Shit Up Again" or "Making Stuff Up Again"? Yeah.
No. Look on the. Oh my god. Just wanted to say I have nothing against like Palestinians coming into Israel. Like nothing against it. This is not about like
You
the.
clearly think they're dangerous.
I don't think that every Palestinian is dangerous.
So do
Like
you condemn? So okay, given that this bullshit about them just letting anyone in is like obviously I as an American can't just immediately move to Israel. Like that's obvious. Um, but if I was Jewish, right, or if my parents were Jewish, I could get citizenship and then
that's
immediately
a
move
thing
to
called
Israel.
birthrights.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So if I was Jewish or my parents were Jewish or my grandparents actually were Jewish or one of my grandparents, it's very lenient actually of a rule. I could get that citizenship. Do you believe that if my grandparents or if I was forcibly expelled from Israel, that I should similarly be able to get those rights to live in Israel?
yes,
Okay, so do you condemn Israel for not doing that?
yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, then talking about that, let's talk about this in the context. Why do you think Israel would not be doing that?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about like internationally, but we'll take like Gaza and the West Bank. There's a lot of like restrictions, obviously.
I'm
You
talking
told
about people that were expelled, right? So let's say they moved to Jordan, right?
mm,
And they got expelled. Now they want to move back to Israel. Israel, like the current Netanyahu government, has stated why they are not doing it. The
this
reason
is
they are not doing it is
ridiculous.
because there is a quote ethno-demographic threat, right? An ethno-demographic threat is there would be too many Arabs, too many non-Jews to maintain a Jewish majority,
Look,
right?
the Israeli government is really fucked. I'm sorry, is bad.
Hmm.
Um, and like I totally disagree with like a lot of their like what they're doing.
That does. The question is what they are doing. You said they're not committing genocide. Okay, I'm telling you they are because they've said these things and then they're doing these things. I condemn America for committing genocidal actions, genocide against a series of Arab nations. I can distance myself from the American government as an American and say they're disgusting and I condemn them and I will do everything I can to work against them, right, while accepting that that's what they're doing and condemning them for doing that. An attack on Israel is not an attack on you as an Israeli, right?
Yeah,
I think
fuck.
that's really important. You can condemn Israel for their actions and say, yeah, stop fucking committing genocide, it's disgusting. And what they're doing is offensive to you because you are Israeli. Them doing bad things is doing bad things in your name. So I'm asking you, right? Okay, if they are doing this, if they are saying we don't want Arabs in our country because it threatens the Jewish majority, do you see how maybe then them committing a huge amount of death, atrocity, and expulsion in Gaza could be motivated by a similar thing?
It could, and it's wrong.
So do you think they're committing genocide in Gaza?
Look, I have to be very careful with what I say, but right now I'll say no, but I hope you know what I mean.
Okay, then we'll move on to someone who maybe has to be less careful what they say, but I appreciate you coming up.
Okay.
Peace. I believe my. Okay, give me 2 seconds, everyone. I actually think I'm probably going to end this live. 1 second. It's 4 o'clock. Let me see where my ish is. There it is. Okay. Will I be on again? Maybe. I might be on. But I really should go because I have stuff tonight and I need to go to the gym and I need to do a series of other things. Okay. But I will say, if you want more of my content, like, okay, this doesn't have to be live. Um, if you want more of my content, then you can always go on, my Spotify, which I just uploaded, Slay. Um, it doesn't have to be live because you don't debate live. What are you talking about? Ignore. And you can follow my YouTube. If you don't, I just uploaded something new today on my YouTube. Yeah, so I'll probably go. Am I on Apple Music? Yes, I am on Apple Music, everyone. I am on Apple Music as well. Um, I believe the link should put you to where you need to go on Apple Music. Let me see if it. Yeah, I'm on Apple Music. I'm not crying. Okay, let me see. Do. Yeah, go follow that. Oh, plays, yay. Okay, we got one. Yay. Okay, good with that. Cool. Well, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go get some food and do other stuff. Okay. And I'll upload this on YouTube pretty soon. All right, bye-bye.